Yeshua and the Pharisees butted heads almost every time you turned around. Why was this? Well, the Pharisees didn't like Yeshua. But more important than that, Yeshua knew the hypocrisy that they lived under. He knew that everything they did in front of man was just a show. He understood, and he knew because he knew their hearts, that their hearts was far away from God. And that's the type of people that he was referring to in Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. Now that also says because he knew that there were faithful people that worshipped and loved God, that were Jewish, and there was also Gentiles, but we're talking about the Jewish nation right now, that were Jews, and that's the same way as it is today. No matter where you go, you're going to find faithful as well as hypocrites. And this is who God was talking about, who Yeshua was speaking of. When he was calling them the synagogue of Satan, he was not speaking to the nation of Israel, but he was speaking of those that had the hypocrisy, that were worshiping for a show in front of man, but not worshiping God with their heart. Now that could also be said for us Gentiles. There are hypocrites in the Gentile churches. There are hypocrites in politics. There are hypocrites in every place. I don't care where you go. You're going to find absolute faithful, and you're going to find absolute hypocrisy. So you cannot judge a whole nation by one verse unless it says a whole nation. And that verse does not say, that scripture does not say the whole nation is a synagogue of Satan. It says the synagogue of Satan, which says the place of worship. There are people who claim to be worshiping the true God, and like I said, that could be Gentiles as well as Jews, that are hypocrites. They are putting a show on for the sake of being seen by man, but their heart is far away from God. So for those of you out there who is trying to attack Israel by using this scripture, you have flawed. Because if you really read the scripture, you would understand Yeshua was not talking about the whole nation of Israel, but the certain people, the Pharisees at the time, that practiced hypocrisy. And like I said, in this day and time, that could actually be for not just the synagogue, but also the church. Because there's hypocrisy everywhere, but there's also absolute faithful. And the faithful should not be condemned because of the hypocrisy of the synagogue of